ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So these are some of the very important verses with respect to how one should cultivate devotional service. From past 3-4 verses, we have been hearing the very important qualities of a devotee, beginning with these symptoms like he is very tolerant, is very, very merciful, he is friendly to all living entities, Ajata Shatru, he has no enemies, he is very peaceful and he abides by the scriptures. And then further also we saw very staunchly engaged in devotional service of the Lord without deviation. And for the sake of the Lord, he renounces all other connections like family relationship, friendly acquaintances, all these things within this material world. And then he is engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about the Supreme Lord. And when he leads such a life, actually he is free from material miseries because his mind is always absorbed in the thoughts of the Supreme Lord. So these are the different symptoms and the qualities of a sadhu which Lord Kapila is describing to Mother Devahuti. So in today's verse, there are three very important things which Lord Kapila is mentioning. He's saying, Ta ete sadhavah sadhavi sarva sanga vivarjitaha. All these qualities which I have described till now, titikshavaha, karunikaha, right? Suhrat sarva bhutanam, all these different qualities of a sadhu, they develop in a person sarva sanga vivarjitaha when he has become free from all material attachments. So that means, when can we see all these qualities in a person? So that's how it is very difficult to find these kind of qualities. We can find only in a person who has become free from all material attachments. Then, next he says, Sangasteshu athate prarthyaha. That is why it is very important that you seek attachment to such great sadhus. Which kind of sadhus? One who is free from all material attachment. We should seek attachment to such great personalities, pure devotees of the Lord, like Prabhupada. One who is freed from all material attachments. Then next he says, Sanga dosha harahite. What is going to happen if we seek attachment to such holy men? If we become attached to such personalities, if we become attached to the pure devotees of the Lord, what will be the result? This will counteract the pernicious effects of material attachment. The pernicious effect of material attachment we saw is horrible suffering in this material world. And if we want to get rid of that kind of suffering in this material world, and if we become attached to the pure devotees of the Lord, then we will be able to counteract those effects. We will be able to become free from Sanga dosha vivarjitaha. We will also become free from Sanga dosha. At present condition, we are Sanga dosha yuktaha. We are completely embroiled in Sanga dosha. And if we seek attachment to such pure devotees, we will become free from this Sanga dosha. So, Prabhupada is pointing these very important things in the purport. Prabhupada is saying, Lord Kapila is advising Mother Devahuti that if she wants to become free from material attachment, because what is the meaning of devotional service? Devotional service means we want to become free from material attachment and we want to become attached to devotional service. We want to become attached to different angas of devotional service, correct? That is what we are aspiring for in devotional service. So the secret is given here. The secret is that if you want to become free from Sanga dosha, from material attachment, then you should transfer your attachment to such devotees which are described by Lord Kapila. Those who have those qualities, Titikshava, Karunika, all those qualities. Such devotee of the Lord, if one transfers his attachment, then he can be freed from all material attachments. The same thing is described in Bhagavad Gita also. In the 15th chapter, in the 5th shloka, there it is mentioned, Nirmana moha jita sanga doshaha. One has to conquer Sanga dosha. Jita Sanga doshaha. That means we have to be freed from Sanga dosha. And Prabhupada explains, in essence, what do we understand by Sanga dosha? What is Sanga dosha? Sanga dosha means we are all contaminated by three modes of material nature. Karanam guna sangasya. In Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, everywhere it is very nicely described. Our material attachments, our material bondage is because of association with three modes of material nature. So, out of them, the two modes are very contaminating. That also we saw. Tamoguna and Rajoguna is very contaminating. So somehow or other, we should lead our life in such a way that we can avoid these lower modes and we can cultivate Sattva Guna, higher modes, so that it will be very, very useful in our practice of devotional service. It will help us in our devotional service. So, Prabhupada describes what do we understand in a sense when we say Sangha dosha. So Prabhupada says Sangha dosha means puffed up condition, which results from moha. Nirmana moha jita sangha dosha. Why it is moha? Because actually it is false position. What is our real position? Our real position is we are eternal servant of Krishna. Yesterday I was reading in Krishna book. It's a very interesting incident. Prabhupada explains about why Lord Balarama, he killed Romaharshana Sutta. Because he was in a puffed up position. Even though externally, Prabhupada says, internally impure, externally posing himself as a devotee. And Lord Balaram thus determined to kill him. What all Lord Balaram considered before killing is very interesting. You see, thoughts of Lord Balaram before killing him is explained there. So when Lord Balaram entered in that assembly, he observed that there were great sages, Mahatmas, Brahmanas, all these personalities are there. And when Lord Balaram entered that assembly, all of them got up. Some got up in respect of the Lord, and there were elders in that. They got up to show respect and to bless the Lord. Of course, Lord does not require anybody's blessing, but because in the material world when the Lord comes, He was playing the part sometimes as somebody's brother, as somebody's elder, as somebody's younger. So that social etiquette is also there. So everybody got up. Then they invited the Lord, made him to sit on an asana, and he was gorgeously worshipped. Lord Balaram then saw that even though everybody else got up, only Romaharshana Sutta, who was sitting on Vyasapitha, neither he got up, neither he showed any respect to Lord Balaram. So then, Lord Balaram, he was surprised, and he started thinking and considering about the birth of Romaharshana Sutta. Prabhupada explains, why did the Lord have to consider about his lower birth? Very interesting. So he started contemplating that this Romaharshana Sutta, he is actually not very highly born. How is he born? He is born from a Brahmana mother and a Kshatriya father. So this is called mixed birth. Mixed birth means the birth, sometimes we find when marriages happen, then in the marriages, there is matching done of the gunas. And the more the gunas matches, the more it is advised that yes, that kind of marriage it will be better. So in the horoscope, the different qualities and gunas are matched. So here what happens? When a person, just like here we see the example, say for example in Bhagavatam we find Kardama Muni, he is Brahmanical. Similarly we find Devabhuti is of that kind of character. She was very austere. She had all those qualities of a Brahmana. So that kind of character, that kind of marriage is considered to be on par. But this kind of marriage and this kind of birth, it is considered mixed. Where we find the woman is of Brahmanical character and the person is of Kshatriya birth. So that is called as Pratilom. That means woman from higher kula and man from lower kula, it is called Pratilom. And if it is opposite, it is called Anulom. That means women from lower birth and men from higher class. That is called Anulom. Why did he consider this? Why Lord Balaram considered about his higher or lower birth? Anyone? It's a very interesting reason Prabhupada gives. Why did Lord Balaram have to consider in terms of his birth? Surat Govinda, you can try. Shudra can be elevated. Good, little. Okay. Prabhupada explains one of the very important point was Romaharshana Suta, while sitting on Vyasasana, may have considered Lord Balaram, he is Kshatriya. I am greater. I am a Brahmana. Even in terms of bodily designation, Prabhupada explains, Lord Balaram considered that actually even birth of Romaharshana Suta, who is so puffed up sitting on Vyasasana, actually even his birth is lower. Even birth-wise, he should have got up and showed respect to Lord Balaram. Forget about being a devotee. Even from social position, he should have got up. So Lord Balaram considered his lower birth. Even if he considered Lord Balaram not Supreme Personality of Godhead, even if he considered he is a mere Kshatriya, even then he should have thought, my birth is still lower. I am Suta Putra. That is what he should have thought. And that is why Lord Balaram considered about his lower birth. Then Lord Balaram thought further that actually he is so puffed up in front of great personalities. He should not have accepted exalted position at all. This is not a quality of a devotee, isn't it? If a devotee is raised to a higher, elevated position in front of so many other elevated souls, actually it is not proper, isn't it? If there are other elevated souls, he should have stepped down and said that actually he is more qualified, he should sit on Vyasasana. That also he did not do. Even though other great personalities who were present there, they very humbly elevated him to Vyasasana. But if he was qualified and he was able to see the qualities in others, higher qualities in others, he should not have first of all accepted that elevated, exalted position. That was another reason of his puffed upness. Third, Lord Balram also considered he has some good qualities, but he did not utilize them. What was the good quality in Romaharshana Sutta? He was disciple of such great soul like Ved Vyas. He learned under him. All Vedic literatures he learned under him. But unfortunately, he did not understand the conclusion. He did not understand the conclusion of Vedic literatures. Conclusion as given in Bhagavad Gita is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. One should surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conclusion given in Bhagavatam, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yator Bhakti Radhokshaje. One should develop devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here is Romaharshana Sutta. He has studied under Veda Vyasa. He has studied Vedic literature, but he has not understood that when Supreme Personality of Godhead enters into the assembly, he should be shown respect. He has not understood. So, this is called puffed up position. So Lord Balram thought that I have descended in this material world for re-establishing religious principles. And this is not religious principle. That internally he is impure, internally he does not have qualities of devotional service, he is so puffed up, and externally he is posing himself as a great devotee. So he must be penalized, he must be punished. And the Lord showed that yes, I am not some ordinary Kshatriya. He just took one straw and he just threw at Romaharshana Sutta. And immediately Romaharshana Sutta, he was finished. And then the Supreme Lord again showed that he can do greater profit. When everybody was aggrieved, when Lord Balaram killed Romaharshana Sutta, everybody was aggrieved. Then Lord said that if you all want, I can bring him back to life. See, again he showed, he is Supreme Lord, he is independent. He can kill at his will and he can bring back somebody at his will. So he said, if you all want, I can bring him back to life. And I will give him longevity. Because all of them were saying, my dear Lord, what you have done? We have all blessed him with long life. And you have taken away his life. So all our benedictions have gone in vain. Isn't it? So how is it possible? And then, so the Lord said, okay, you want long life for him, I will give him back his life. But they did not want that also. They all said, my dear Lord, when you have determined to kill him, then that should be done. But at the same time, our benediction also should not go in vain. So how did the Lord resolve? Yes, Ugrashrava. Suta Goswami, his son, he was elevated to that position. And the Lord blessed him and he gave him long life. The son is considered to be the representative of Father. So very nicely Prabhupada explains about the whole incident. Prabhupada explains about puffed up position. This is called as Jita Sangha Dosha. This is the meaning. What do we otherwise will think? Contaminated by Sattva Guna, contaminated by Rajo Guna, contaminated by Tamo Guna. Yes, Kama, Lobha, all these things are there. What happens by all these things when one becomes contaminated? He becomes puffed up, he is in illusion. Nirmana Moha. Nirmana. He should become free from puffed up position. No false puffed up position. Mana means sammana. One is after material respects. So we can see how beautifully Prabhupada describes about what is the meaning of Jita Sangha Dosha. Sangha Dosha means puffed up position. And when one becomes free, he is called freed from Jita Sangha Dosha as described in Bhagavad Gita. So I'll read this very interesting Prabhupada is saying here. It is said in Bhagavad Gita, Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha. This refers to one who is completely freed from puffed up condition of material possessiveness. Person may be materially very rich, opulent, respectable. See? Somebody may be very rich, that is also possessiveness. Somebody is poor, that is also false possessiveness. Somebody may possess respectability, just like we are seeing the example of Romaharshana. He was respected by everybody. All these are false possessions, and one should become free from them, not become puffed up by them. But if he wants to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom, back to Godhead, then he has to be freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness, because that is a false position. And then Prabhupada explains what is the meaning of moha. Moha used here means false understanding that one is rich or poor. In the material world, the conception one is very rich or very poor, or any such consciousness in connection with material existence is false, because the body itself is false or temporary. So how does one become free from this conception? Because this body itself is temporary. The possession of this body, how it will not be temporary? Name, fame, possessions, material wealth, all these are temporary. So why we should get affected by all those things? One should be freed from all of them. So that is very important. So, next Prabhupada explains, if one wants to become free from this false possessiveness or false puffed upness, then what one should do? He should seek attachment to such personalities who are free from this, who are free from material possessions, who are free from false puffed upness. That is very, very important. If we seek attachment to such great personalities, then we will become free. Otherwise, it is very difficult to become free from this moha, this illusion of false puffed upness. Is very, very difficult. And what happens if we become attached to such great personalities? Prabhupada explains, one becomes free from the horrible conditions, suffering conditions of this material world. That is another sign of devotional service. One becomes free from material pangs, material miseries of life. And Prabhupada gives the example here in this purport. What is the example Prabhupada is giving? Anantarupa. What is the example Prabhupada gives? Mathuresh? Anyone? Satya Govinda? Yes. Cat taking the kitten in her mouth and cat taking a rat in her mouth. When the kitten is carried by the cat, it is feeling the warmth of the mother, whereas the rat is feeling death, fear, horror. So devotee who has become Chitta Sanga Dosha, who is freed from contamination of this material world, even though externally suffering, actually he does not suffer. Even though externally suffering, he does not suffer. So this will be the result of this. In the end, I'd like to read today's conversation, very interesting conversation. So Prabhupada is saying now how to associate with devotees. So Prabhupada is saying that is why this Krishna consciousness movement is created. And if we want that people become purified with our association, then we need to develop these qualities of devotees. Isn't it? And if people become attached to sadhu sangha, then automatically we will find that their material association, everything becomes very quickly, they become free from material association. Otherwise it is very difficult. Like, can you imagine, Prabhupada gives the example, for Westerners to give up their daily way of life to which they are so attached, because it's a way of their life. Prabhupada gives the example that one of his god brother, when he went to Western country, so one of the person in a very high social position, he asked Prabhupada's god brother, can you make me a Brahmana? So he said, yes, give up meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling. So he replied, impossible. Actually it's impossible. It's their day-to-day life, very difficult for them to give up any of these things. Just like we eat our food, for them it is regular. Drinking is regular, smoking is regular. It is their day-to-day life. So he said impossible, but it is very much possible if they develop attachment for devotees. If they develop attachment for sadhu sangha, then it is very much possible. So Prabhupada says, that is why this Krishna consciousness movement is created, so that we can give association to people. And if we remain contaminated, how we can purify others? Isn't it? Janma sarthak kari, our janma we have to do sarthak, then karo paropkar, then we can do welfare for others. So, very interesting today's conversation about how certain very important principles, regulative principles in Krishna consciousness, one must follow without fail if we want to remain clean in our consciousness. Okay, Panchadravida. Such devotees that they do service, they may be very big. They attract so many people. They are very successful, kirtana and everything. But we know they are not chanting japa. What can we do in this situation? You see? So sometimes we may find somebody not even following the basic regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds and the 4 regulative principles, but doing some big preaching, big kirtans, all those things, everything is there. So Prabhupada explains, first of all, Prabhupada says, he recognizes what good quality he has. Prabhupada, situation, he is doing some service, Panchadravida, yes. Prabhupada, so, because on account of that service, if he could not, that can be excused. But not that practice should be taken as permanent business. Regulation is, if you cannot finish your chanting that day, next day you should forget sleeping and eating and you must finish it. Okay, you were very busy one day and you could not finish. Next day Prabhupada is saying, you should forget eating, you should forget sleeping, and you must finish your chanting. Panchadravida. Some persons we encounter, they don't even chant at all. And yet, we are in association with them. Correct? Prabhupada. See how Prabhupada gives very practical understanding how we have to live in the society, because we may find such kind of devotees also. Prabhupada, no, if you miss on account of busyness, then next day you must finish it. You should not go to sleep. You should not. That day you should forget all other business. First of all, complete this. Satswarup. So Satswarup Maharaj is giving the example of, not someday, it is sometime it is a chronic disease for some devotees. Some devotees have it as a chronic condition, though. Prabhupada. Then he is animal. So it's very clear. If on account of some service, on account of some kind of busyness, if one cannot chant and complete his rounds on that day, Prabhupada is saying next day he should forget all other business, he should complete his round. Then it is alright, he can be forgiven. If chronically he does this, and Prabhupada will explain, very nicely Prabhupada explains why he is an animal. Justified. Why? Okay. Satswarup. But still he is doing lots of good devotional service. Panchadravida. He may be even a manager. Prabhupada. Then they will get some chance later on. Okay, if he is doing some service, he will get a chance to improve. What is that devotee if you do not follow the regulative principles? The business is, if one day you cannot finish, next day you must finish. And now Prabhupada is explaining. For eating, he is very eager. For sleeping, he is very eager. And for finishing chanting, he has no eagerness. See? Then he is animal. It is simply an excuse. Yesterday you had no time, you were very busy, all right. Today you forget you are sleeping and eating, finish it. That is wanted. And only for chanting you have no time. That is not allowed. That is not allowed. That is cheating. I am so busy. Panchadravida. Most of these devotees in Hyderabad, they are chanting 25 rounds a day or more. Prabhupada, that's all right. If you can chant more, that is good. Panchadravida. We must associate with them, that is the difficulty. Prabhupada, but you do your business, you don't follow them. You see? So, sometimes we may find such kind of devotees are there. They are not finishing their rounds or whatever. They are slack in their devotional service. So, Prabhupada is giving solution for that also. See? What is the solution? Because they are saying we will have to associate with them. Very practical thing. What do we do? Should we not associate because we throw them out? Isn't it? Sometimes we may question this. Somebody is slack in his principles of following. So Prabhupada is saying, see, question asked is, but we must associate with them, that is difficult. Prabhupada, you do your business. You don't follow them, that's all. You remain perfect. There are many imperfects admitting, but you try to remain perfect so that they may see you, your behavior, and they may follow you. See? What an advice Prabhupada is giving. You do your business, don't follow them, you remain perfect. There are many imperfects we are admitting, but you try to remain perfect so that they may see you, they may see your behavior and they may follow you. If everyone is sincere in his activity, then where is the question? The society means if I am defective, if I am seeing that you are doing nicely, so I will be ashamed. You see? This is also learning. Preaching does not mean simply only talking. By our activities also we preach. If we are doing perfectly, others will be ashamed when they see. I am seeing that you are doing nicely, I will be ashamed. That is also teaching. Actually, that should be the practice. If I cannot finish my 16 rounds due to some business, then next day I must finish it. If you say next day I am busy, then you should forget your eating and sleeping and finish it. That is the way. You are so busy, but you do not forget your eating and sleeping. That is cheating. If you are so busy that you forget your eating and sleeping, then I can consider that you are very busy. See, if somebody could forget he was so busy in his service, he did not even sleep, he did not even eat, then you can say I was very busy. Otherwise, if you say I was very busy, you could find time for your eating, you could find time for your sleeping, but you could not find for your chanting, then that Prabhupada is saying that is cheating. But you do not forget this portion. Whenever there is opportunity, I sleep and eat, and I have no time for chanting. This is cheating. How long you can go on by cheating? You must finish. Somebody after initiation, he promises, yes, I shall follow these rules and regulations. I shall chant 16 rounds before the fire, before the deity, before the Guru. If he does not follow, he is a cheater. What to speak of him becoming a Vaishnava? He is a cheater. He breaks all his promises. Therefore, after observing a person is doing everything, then second initiation. He should be recommended for second initiation unless the president and the other authorities see that he is doing nicely, he is following. Otherwise, he should not be recommended. If he is recommended, that is another cheating. If you know that this person is not following the rules and regulation, then why you should recommend him? That is another cheating. Vidhi Bhakti must be followed, otherwise it becomes Sahajiya. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.